Hi everyone, Layne Beachley here with my co-founder of Awake Academy, Tess Brouwer. And we've decided to come together on the couch today to talk about the importance of Mother's Day and the impact of Mother's Day, primarily on us.
Yes.
To help shed some light on the differences that we all have but also find some commonality within those differences.
Yeah, and the importance of honouring where you're at on this day.
Yeah.
And those around you.
Yeah, and how different we are.
Yeah. Chalk and cheese.
Are you the chalk or am I the cheese? Or?
Depending on the day.
But I don't like dairy, so I'll be the chalk, you be the cheese.
You're goat's cheese.
Perfect. Okay, game on. Covered in ash.
Yeah. So to give you a little bit of context about how different we are, and the reason why we're going to give it to you in this way is so that you can follow in our journey. We haven't done any real talking prep, so I've got some questions that I feel like I have the opportunity to ask you, which is a real honour.
Thank you.
So I know that the topic of motherhood is sensitive for you, so I just want to tell you that I'm holding the space
Thank you.
in these moments because they're raw and they're real and they're vulnerable, and often they're us sharing them on the phone to each other.
Yes, not in front of cameras.
Yeah, or lights, and we're on the ground crying, and sometimes I think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to show people what honouring your emotions really feel like, honouring what your story feels like, and the resolve that can come from that.
Yes,
So
because
that,
when you have the courage to look in the mirror and honour what you see, that's when the transformation occurs.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can be incredibly uncomfortable, but every discomfort or every one of those moments can actually become a wonderful growth opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're willing to sit with it and get through it. And have someone as beautiful as you to hold the space for it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure things will come up for me too, because some of the conversations we have are about me discovering myself as being a new mum. So I became a mum in February 2022. So I have a 13-month-old or 14-month-old baby called Benji. And I'm also a stepmom. So I see the world very differently at times to you.
Yep. So, and this is your second year as a mum.
Yes.
And I know the first year I remember calling you on Mother's Day and asking you, how does it feel to be a mum now on Mother's Day?
What did I say?
And you went, well, it's frightening and it's exciting. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm excited to be doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got to keep this alien alive, and I've only just worked out how to keep myself alive. So.
Not much has changed this year, by the way. Still trying, except the alien got bigger.
Yes.
And I kept it alive.
And all-consuming.
Yeah.
Well done for keeping it alive.
Thank you.
You're
so
succeeding.
Our differences and our similarities. So at 36, I became a mum. At 36, you retired.
Indeed.
Life changed.
Yes.
When you met your husband-to-be, Kirk, you said to him, I need you to get a vasectomy.
I do not want children. And he went, great, sign
me
me up.
I met my husband, Chris, I said, you need to get a reversal because I want children.
Yeah.
So there we go.
And you are as adamant about having children as I am resolved about not having children.
Yes.
So we're polar opposites of that spectrum.
Yep. And I remember I said to you, I want to have kids. And you said, why?
Why are you going to do this?
Yeah. And I had to take a moment of, I guess, questioning why, because it's something that as women we're all biologically conditioned to have children. So it felt like if I wasn't a mum, I would be not here as my purpose, like what I perceive to be as my true purpose on earth.
Wow.
And I'd be fighting against that. But I did face a reality that I may not have children. And I think that really frightened me into thinking, I need to really find the right man to have a child with. Mm-hmm. I don't know did you ever find a man that you wanted to have a kid with?
No.
Yeah. So I wonder whether anything would have changed in that moment
Look,
for
there
you.
was a moment when my partner before Kirk, Ken, and I don't think Ken was adamant he didn't want kids, and I was with him for 5 years. And so I bought into that story as well. But then the older I got, the more resolved I got with the idea of, I don't want kids, and I honestly thought at the time it was because of my adoption that if I did have kids, I would suffocate them with all of the love and affection that I feel like I missed out on. But ultimately, I just love and adore my life, and I'm not willing to compromise on it. So call me selfish, but that's just the life that I've chosen to live.
Yeah.
So maybe if I'd found the man that if I felt the need to replicate myself, I want a mini-me.
That's not what having children is.
No. See, that's how selfish I am.
Yeah, exactly. Point proved.
Yeah.
Case over.
Yeah.
The interesting thing in the rabbit hole we're going down is one of the questions I had was around motherhood and loss.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was born in love and conceived in love and born in love and welcomed into a family that sort of was designed for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not to say that yours wasn't, because it's, sparked this huge journey for you.
Mm.
And then you've lost 3 mums.
Well, I was conceived in fear.
In rape.
In rape. I was delivered in fear and rejection.
Oh, I often think about your mum.
Yeah.
And I thought about her a lot, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, because I think, and for all the women
who have conceived or had been fallen pregnant through circumstances.
Yeah, and I wonder, and I just think how terrifying that would have been for her.
Especially at that young age, especially at 17.
And actually, when you say that it was, I feel like the biggest act of love she ever did was to give you to a family that...
Give birth to me.
Give birth to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, she had, once I was delivered, she was never allowed to touch me. So letting, fortunately, and I was 6 weeks premature too. So I must have subconsciously known that I wasn't welcome in the environment that I was in. So I was like in a rush to get out. And that's why I had to live in a humidity crib for another 6 weeks to fight for my life. Yeah, to breathe and survive. But yeah, I think about how hard it must have been for her to not only allow me to gestate in her body, but then just to give it away and not have any control over the circumstances of my life. And I know once I met her at 27 years of age, I know she really wanted me to keep my original name, which was Tanya. And
you're so not a Tanya. Thank God you didn't do that.
Well, Dad didn't know that at the time. But then also be brought up in a loving family with a mother and father. And I lost that opportunity as a 6-year-old. And, so when my mum, who adopted me, died when I was 6, I mean, that was obvious. That set a whole lot of wheels in motion to inspire me, or whatever words you want to wrap around that, to pursue this grand ambition of becoming a world champion. And then, you talk about losing 3 mums. So I lost my first one to a brain hemorrhage during cosmetic surgery. I lost my
at 6
at 6.5. And then Christina, who was my stepmother, who had given birth to my sister Catherine, we lost her when I was 30 to breast cancer. And then I met my biological mother when I was 27, and we lost her 6 years ago, so in 2017, to ovarian cancer when she was about 62. So all of them died in their 60s. So when I wrote my book about Beneath the Waves and I interviewed Mum, that was when I had the realisation that, I equate motherhood with loss.
Yeah.
So perhaps that was a subconscious decision never to have children, because I never truly connected with a motherhood or a mothering figure. So from the time when my mum died as a 6.5-year-old, that's when I started seeing my dad as my mum.
Yeah.
And started giving him Mother's Day cards.
Yeah. And when you talk about motherhood and loss, what comes up for you? Because I get heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm projecting a little bit.
Well, maybe because you've had the golden gift of becoming a mother and realising the importance of your position in your baby's life, and imagine him growing up without that. I'm sure that adds a whole lot of other weight and sadness for that child, whereas I didn't know any different. So I can reflect on it and go, wow, I really missed out on a lot. but then I also gained a lot, and maybe that's the pragmatic side of me.
You post-rationalise.
I am very pragmatic because that has become one of my survival mode mechanisms. And so I reflect on it and go, there's moments where I go, geez, I wish I had the chance to ask my mum this question, or I wish I had the chance to connect with Christina because I viewed her as my stepmonster. Or, I wish I had an opportunity to go back in time and change certain things, but I can't change the past, and my past doesn't have to be my future. And look, there's moments when I do feel sad, and that was the anniversary of my mum's death on the 1st of May. So I sat in that, and I still get waves of grief, but no guilt, which is what I'm really grateful for. I don't feel guilty about the fact that I kept my biological mother at a distance, which I know upset Catherine, my stepsister.
Half
so convoluted. I got an older brother, a half sister, a stepsister. No, she's a stepsister because my mum had another child called Melissa, so she's my half sister. There's those moments where I just go, wow, it's sad that but it is what it is. And I feel like I'm not going to project, if I don't not rationalize it, but just sit in it and process it and accept it for what it is, then I prolong my own sense of suffering.
Yeah.
And life's too short to be sad. Life's too short to feel guilty. Life's too short to spend your whole life rationalizing about what you could have, should, or would have done. Life's about actually embracing what is and going after what you can, and living the life that you can design. And so I continue to, I sit with it, I process it, I feel it, I honour it, I journal about it, which I spent quite some time on May the 1st journaling about that. And then I felt quite resolved. And then I was able to, go on and have a great day.
Hey, my mum died today. Have a great day. I know, it's amazing what you're able to do when you honour, process, rationalise, let go, move on.
Yeah, I don't like rationalising because then you're telling yourself a bunch of rational lies. So I don't tend to rationalise it anymore, but I know that when I am, and that's the really valid point about when you have the courage to sit in it and embrace the discomfort and honour how you feel, that's when you're able to transition. That's when you're able to transform the feeling. But if you don't honour it and you don't own it, then you can't shift it. It actually just gets buried in deeper and deeper.
Yeah. And I do wonder whether that sort of grief ever prevented you from going there to be a mum.
Maybe.
Because it has such a powerful tool. Like
being a mum?
No, grief is a powerful tool.
Yes, yeah. And look, we are naturally nurturing. That's what women were born to do. We were the architects of life. And if we think about our role and our purpose, I may not have given birth and nurtured a single individual, but I've actually given birth to ideas, I've given birth to opportunities, either through my foundation, through my events. So I've literally nurtured and developed hundreds of women in my life, and perhaps I'm compensating in a way, or just dedicating myself to doing something that I know I was born to do.
Yeah, I feel like it's authentically you. I always give Layne a Mother's Day card and I say, like, from the earth, because I do feel like you're an earth mum, not necessarily procreating, but you're creating a future generation of men and women. I think that's another, credit to you, as you're not, whilst you did focus on women with Aim for the Stars, I mean, you've got a whole list of people that you mentor.
And have been mentored by.
And I think it's surprising for people. Sometimes you do come across as, the tiger shark. But you are the most nurturing, kind, caring, earthy woman to me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Can you reassure all those people out there that think I'm a hard ass that are compassionate less?
Guys. I promise.
I don't need it to be reassured. I mean, you're right. There is that aspect of me. And I must admit, when you fell pregnant, and I actually felt at first quite disappointed that you were pregnant.
We're all honest here.
Well, I was like, oh, now I'm no longer the number one child in your life. Like, I really enjoyed being that kid in you, the number one kid. And now I'm number two. And who does number two work for? Tess. But when Benji, your beautiful baby boy, was born, I felt that instant connection with him because I was a part of that whole journey, and also realising how profound it was for you to be able to naturally give birth, considering all that you've been through. So there's that. Benji brings out that maternal and nurturing side in me. But then I also think about the partners in my life that I've manifested, and they're very nurturing and maternal in their ways as well. Like Kirk is one of the most loving, nurturing, affectionate souls, and allowing myself to feel that and be embraced by that has taken me a long time, because all adoptees, as we know, we have a massive fear of rejection, and that's anchored in a foundation of a lack of trust. And it takes a long time to earn our trust. So Benji earned it very quickly.
And still does, except when he's running around your office.
Except when he's
pulling things apart.
And being a baby.
Where do you think you were taught or modelled nurture? Because there is ingrained behaviours in us, and then there's modelled, because we're looking for it. Who do you think played that role for you?
The first thing that comes to mind is the ocean.
Yeah.
Mother Ocean taught me that. Because she taught me to surrender. She taught me to allow myself to be embraced. And she also taught me to connect with how I feel and own it.
You're like the baby Moana.
Yes, riding those waves.
Yes.
But if we think about the human touch of role modelling behaviour, I don't really know where I've learned it other than from partners. Like, I remember my first boyfriend giving me a really hard time for a very long time for not even wanting to hold his hand in public.
Yeah.
I remember it took me year and a half, I think, to hold my nan's hand in public, because it's just that fear of trust and fear of connection and fear of surrender. Yeah, that was a really big one. So I don't think it's ever been role modelled to me.
Yeah.
Because my dad's a tough love man. He's not the very affectionate type.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell me that he loves me, but I know he does.
Yeah.
So, and I don't look for it. I just accept it. And I know he shows his love in the way that he knows how. So I don't expect it from him. But no, I don't think it's ever really been role modelled.
Isn't that interesting? Yet you are so so nurturing in yourself.
Yeah. And super affectionate now.
Yeah.
Which I really wasn't as a kid. Like, don't touch me.
I'm allergic
to that.
Don't let me be seen.
Where was your nurturing?
Oh, my mum, easily. Oh, yeah. I have I have an amazing mum.
You sure do.
Yeah, who is all of the things you want your mum to be. But I did have an evil stepmum who taught me who I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
And becoming a stepmum myself, when I was just learning to look after myself, then to be like handed, for lack of a better word, I went into lockdown with my husband-to-be and his 3 stepkids, and we had them a week on and a week off. So I was sort of pop-up mum, stepmum, but I always wanted to maintain the position that I was never a step-in mum. I was, I guess, a best friend, because my stepdad is a best friend. Yeah. Still a role model and still an anchor. But he doesn't do the washing or the cooking or the thing, so I can't relax on just being a best friend, because you are more than that.
Yeah, especially if it's a week on, a week off.
Yeah.
Because I think about stepping into that role with Kirk's daughter, April. I never wanted to be her mum, because her mum is her rock.
Yeah.
And she has such a tight connection with her mum and relationship that I was never going to ever replicate that or feel that. So I always just wanted to be her mentor and her friend. Yeah. And that's taken time to develop.
Yeah, I think stepmom is a really, really hard role.
It's a tough role.
And there's hundreds of books out there to be mum, dad, birth, but how do you just take on...
How do you become an ideal stepmother?
And I did have this moment and we co-parent really well with the kid's mum, Lauren, and the daughter wanted to wear my dress, which, of course, like, you don't want your stepdaughter wearing your clothes straight out without, you know...
I don't know. I have no idea. What does that mean?
I'm still like, you know, my dresses were still a bit racy at that time. Split up the side.
Oh, right. Okay. I was
Not that bad.
What kind of dress are we talking?
Not bad at all.
A Gosford skirt?
No. But it felt like I was encroaching into mother territory. And
because that's what kids do. They're like, Mum, can I wear your shoes? Can I use your makeup? Can I wear
but I
your
wasn't
clothes?
comfortable in being there, and I texted her and I said, "Do you mind?" Just like,
oh, you text her mum. Oh, and
I just want you to know. Well, she instantly wrote back a blow the head off emoji, which blew my heart apart. But then she came back and she said, and I still think about this, and she wrote a beautiful message and said, I never imagined another woman bringing up my own children.
Yeah.
And that hits hard because I realised for her there was a bit that she had to let go to the kids to allow me in.
Yes, absolutely.
And that takes courage, whether she realises that that's what she was doing or not. But then there was a bit where I thought, oh my God, have got these 3 little chicklings that are sort of, Chris and I called them the ducklings at that time because you'd walk down the street and they'd follow you and I'd be like, does this happen all the time? Like,
you know, like being stalked or something.
No, just like mother duck, you know, because they're young and they're watching every move that you make. And I realised that I was already forming a relationship with them just by them watching me. So,
yeah.
And my respect for their mum was really important in that. So, yeah, I think that.
So you need to write the handbook on what it takes to become
I don't know.
stepmother.
I think I make a lot of mistakes. But
don't we all?
Yeah, I think it's just the honouring that this is hard for everyone.
Yeah.
First and foremost, like the number one thing is a split family. 1 in 2 families are split.
Yep. Yeah, it's...
Like there's not enough,
common.
You know, we have this traditional family life put up in front of us when actually it really, like Hollywood has a lot to answer for because it just doesn't exist.
No, there's no such thing as the perfect family.
So I had a really good model of mum, but I also had a good model of what I did and didn't want a step family to be like.
Right.
And somewhere in there, I think I've just found a flow.
Right, well done.
And then you enter in a new baby and
things all fall apart. Throw in a whole nother dynamic, a little alien that takes over everything.
Have you noticed a change in me since becoming a mum?
It's a very good question. I've noticed you've become... What I noticed in all mums when they become mums is the compartmentalisation of life.
Yeah.
So you're able to focus, but also it's almost like, you know how dolphins sleep with one eye open? It's like half of your brain half of your life now is reserved to keeping Benji safe. And nothing else matters.
Yeah.
So you used to be able to get distracted by all the little things that, you know, would be shiny or whatever. But now you're very efficient, very effective, and you're very quick to call a boundary. Like, you know, we're in the middle of a discussion where I was venting to you and you're like, I got to go. Benji's losing his shit. I've really got to
I really didn't want to. I was torn. I was so torn in that moment.
I'm proud of you for putting him first. My shit can wait.
I know, but it's like my 2 babies needed me. Who do I
choose? I turned off the phone and went, no, I didn't. That was fine. So, yeah, I've noticed your attentiveness and your commitment to being the best mother you can be. And that's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I've you know, because there was a part of me that thought I'm losing you.
Yeah.
But no, I've gained more of you.
Yeah.
Because when you're here, you're wholly here.
Yeah.
But when you're there, and I'm always conscious of the division or
what it takes to be there.
Yeah. And more power to you. I don't have the patience. I don't have the...
You do. You're selling yourself short.
I really don't.
You do.
Babies stress me out.
Yeah, I think that you haven't spent enough time.
It's because I don't want to spend enough time. Have it.
No, we did have a holiday in Byron. You were very attentive to Benji.
Well, that's because I could just pick him up and go, here, take it, please. I'm really good at kids. I'm good with kids that I can give back and beat up.
Yeah. Beat up, not physically.
Not physically beat up, but just rough them up a little bit. Pick them up, throw them in the pool, and then watch them swim.
Yeah. I think, and this is something that's changed in me since becoming a mum, especially coming from a corporate background. I used to see the mums and the dads in the office, and the dads, I'm like, why are you here? Like, it's 6:30, you should be out drinking and do this. Like, no, I've got to get this work done, and then I'm going home. It's bedtime, it's bath time. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand what that means, but I know that it's important. And most of the times, and this, for me, it was the mums that wouldn't come to lunches, who wouldn't do the social things, because they're like, no, we're at daycare. Like, this is expensive. I want to get my job done and go. And they're so efficient.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't know. I think if you want something done, hire a woman who's got babies in daycare, because they will get shit done.
Yeah. Well, that's what they always say. If you want something done, give it to a busy person.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how you manage it, but you manage it well.
Yeah, but the way off is I'm doing this task versus spending time with my baby.
Yeah.
So I want to just get it done.
Yeah, fair enough.
What advice would you give to women who are in the very tender moment of deciding they don't want to be a mum?
Whew, that's a deep question to ask at Mother's Day. What advice would I give them? I would say just honour that. I think women have this... I know friends who have a story that if they don't become a mum, then they've failed as a woman.
That was me.
Yeah, and I don't subscribe to that. And that is just a story. It's not truth. It's not reality. Then there's some women who have just desperately wanted to become a mum, have gone through countless rounds of IVF and haven't achieved their dream. And then once again carry the burden or the weight of that failure or that guilt. I feel that if you can just honour the story, honour the emotion, just honour the emotion. I think that's what I keep coming back to. It's round 1 of our Wake Academy's course, Only Truth. Just sit in it and honour it and ask yourself, why do I feel this way? And what's the story I have wrapped around it? And how do I want to feel? And then what do I need to do to shift this feeling? Because not all of us are born to be mothers.
No. Did you have trouble talking to people that were really close to you who were mothers or who wanted you to have babies? Did you have trouble telling them no? I think once you spend 5 minutes with you, you're just
pretty resolved. You know what? I have that time when I was pushed and pushed and pushed. You don't have children. You don't have children. You don't want children. And so I went and processed, what is it about me and children? Where is that agitation, or where's that tension? And I had the realization, actually, I love my life more than I have the desire to bring in a child into it. And that was that resolution where I was like, once I stop questioning myself, everyone around me stops questioning me. So I see
That's interesting.
People questioning you as an opportunity for you to get clear. So if people are constantly asking you, why didn't you have kids? That means you're unclear as to why you haven't had children. So if you're being questioned, then take the time to ask yourself 9 whys, and at the bottom of the 9th one, you'll find exactly why.
Why?
Why?
A lot of people come to you for advice about their children,
Yes,
which
fascinating.
I find really fascinating.
Yes, they do.
And what do you feel like are some of the themes that people are going through at this moment?
Look, it's tough. It's tough being a parent. I wholeheartedly see that, and I empathise. I empathise, not emphasise. I empathise.
Well, maybe emphasise.
Yeah, and I
as well.
emphasise this point. It's hard being a parent. The main themes are usually around, I've either got 2 kids, one's motivated and one's not. What advice can I give to the one that's not? And I mean, I had a woman walk onto a plane and ask me this question. I was like, who are you and why are you asking me this question? And I said, can you leave it with me? And I sat there with it, and when we got off the plane, I said, here's what I feel. If one of your children are motivated, then they are inspired by your work ethic. If one of them is not motivated, it means that they are thinking that by being as successful as you takes you away from the people you love. Because if I want to be driven and succeed, it means I will never get to spend time with my mum. And so helping people see it from a different perspective, I think, is why they're asking me. because they obviously respect me and are seeking counsel or advice as to something that they can't see themselves.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So I get a bit of understanding, seek to understand before being understood about who they are, what they do, and then I just meditate on it and usually come up with an answer that hits them between the eyes.
And hopefully not too hard.
Well, I can be like that. It's because I'm an honest realist.
Yeah. In this Mother's Day piece, we wanted to leave everyone with a little bit of guidance, love, understanding on how to approach Mother's Day for all the women who have many different interpretations and stories, because a lot of you watching today are have a mother, are a mother,
want to be a
mother, or are supporting a mother. Where would we be without our partners, whoever they are, and however they show up in the world? I'll go second.
Please. Oh.
Do you want me to go first?
Go.
Okay. So I have a group of mums, a mum chat that has quite literally saved my mothering journey. I didn't join a mother's group. I just had my girlfriends from school all together. Thankfully, they paved the way before me.
Yes.
And I asked them, what do you really want on Mother's Day? Because I think often we end up getting what other people... We do... The ultimate act of motherhood is selflessness.
Yeah.
And we give them the day that they think they should give us on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And so I said, what do you really want? And it was sort of unanimous that, a quick morning hug in bed, then just, maybe breakfast, definitely a coffee, and then leave me alone so that I can either go out with my mum or my girlfriends or just honour my mother group.
Right. Without children.
Without
partners.
We actually do want a little bit of space because that's a gift of Mother's Day. Just give me a bit of space.
Yeah, exactly. Take the baby.
I actually don't want the role of mother today.
Yeah, wow.
Which is, give me a break from being a mother on Mother's Day. You do all the decisions, because there is a thing called decision-making fatigue, and it does exist with mothers hugely because our brains have changed, as you were alluding to before. But make every decision of the day for that mother. What to eat, what snacks are on the table, what restaurants, where we're going, and give her some space. And preferably book in a massage for her on that day.
Or a facial.
Yeah. But do all the work.
Right.
That's the gift of motherhood.
In the lead up, because you know when it's going to be. Same Sunday every year.
Yes, exactly. That's easy because it's there.
Yeah.
What about for the women who've gone through loss, who approach this day with a bit of trauma, a bit of a story, grief? How do we approach them? Because I often wonder how I should approach you on Mother's Day.
Well, ask them, how do you feel about today? And they may go, fine.
Warning.
Well, yeah, warning. I'm fine. But then just sit with them and say, no, really, I mean, I understand that this day could be quite triggering for you, or, as you know my story, I know this day represents a lot of loss for you, more so than a lot of love. So how do you feel on this day? Do you want to talk about it? If not, then just let me know that, or let them know that you're here for them whenever you want. So yes, like you say, some days it's a celebration, some days it's a day of sadness. So just let people honour it and don't project onto them. Don't say, I know this day's hard for you.
Yeah.
Just say, this day means different things to everyone, but I understand that you've been through a different journey than I have, so I'd love to know how you're feeling about today.
That's nice.
And just hold the space for that.
We should provide that as a little text message.
Yeah, there you go.
Cut and copy. To wrap up, I just wanted to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
For nurturing me as a mum.
Oh, thank you for being such a beautiful nurturer.
We joke that I'm your and Kirk's love child, unofficial love child, sometimes daughter.
Yes.
But yeah, I do want to honour you and honour all of the mums, whoever you may be, however you show up in the world. We all have a role to play on earth, and you don't have to be a mum to behave, to give back, to show up in the world, because I do think at the end of the day the world will change with the more maternal women driving that change, or maternal energy.
Maternal energy, because I think
yeah.
my dad became my mum when I was 6.5.
Yeah.
and he still he still provides that energy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of dads out there who are co-parenting as dads. So.
Yeah. So I don't know whether to say Happy Mother's Day or enjoy Mother's Day. Or
Honour Mother's Day.
Honour Mother's Day. Perfect.
Yeah.
Honour Mother's Day.
Honour Mother's Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, beautiful.